Welcome to our Toolbox Talk on welding in confined spaces. Today, we're going to dive into understanding what makes an area a confined space, the unique challenges it presents, especially when welding is involved, and why it's crucial to adhere to specific safety protocols in these environments. Definition of confined spaces. A confined space is an area that is substantially enclosed, though not necessarily entirely. These are not spaces designed for people to work in regularly. They can be found in various workplace settings and present unique challenges due to their design and structure. Limited access and egress. One of the key characteristics of confined spaces is their limited access and exit points. This design aspect makes it not only difficult for workers to enter and leave but also poses significant challenges for emergency response and rescue operations. Potential hazards. Due to poor ventilation, confined spaces often present hazardous work environments. This can lead to the accumulation of toxic gases or the depletion of oxygen, creating potentially life-threatening atmospheres. When welding in such spaces, these risks are exacerbated due to the fumes and gases produced by welding processes. Examples of confined spaces. To put this into perspective, examples of confined spaces include tanks, vessels, silos, storage bins, hoppers, vaults, pits, sewers, pipelines, and ducts. Each of these spaces requires a unique approach to safety when welding is involved. As we proceed with today's talk, keep these points in mind. Our goal is to ensure that everyone understands the risks associated with welding in confined spaces and the essential safety practices that must be followed to protect ourselves and our co-workers. Let's prioritize safety and stay informed about the best practices for working in these challenging environments. Let's focus now on how to identify confined spaces within our workplace. Recognizing these areas is the first step in ensuring our safety, especially when performing high-risk tasks like welding. When we talk about confined spaces, we're referring to various types of environments. Common examples include tanks, used for storage or processing, silos for bulk material, sewers that run beneath our streets, pipelines carrying fluids or gases, and even storage bins. These spaces can be completely enclosed or only partially, but what they all have in common is that they're not designed for us to work in them continuously. One of the key characteristics of confined spaces is their limited access and exit points. These aren't just small doors or narrow passageways, they're often areas where moving in and out is significantly restricted, posing challenges not just for everyday work but also for emergency evacuations. Additionally, because these spaces are often poorly ventilated, they can quickly become hazardous, particularly when welding. The fumes and gases from welding can accumulate, leading to dangerous atmospheres. This is why understanding what constitutes a confined space is vital. It's about recognizing where these risks can occur and preparing accordingly. As we proceed with our work, let's keep these points in mind to identify and approach confined spaces with the caution and preparation they require. It's crucial to recognize these spaces in our work environment because they require specific safety protocols. The risks associated with confined spaces aren't always visible, which is why understanding and identification are our first steps in ensuring safety. Remember, safety in these spaces is not just about being careful inside them, but also about knowing how to get in and out safely, and what to do in case of an emergency. In this part of our talk, we're going to address the critical topic of atmospheric hazards and the importance of testing before we begin any welding in confined spaces. Confined spaces inherently present various atmospheric hazards. These can include toxic gases like carbon monoxide or hydrogen sulfide, which can be present in the environment or result from the welding process itself. There's also the risk of flammable or explosive atmospheres, especially in places like sewers where methane might accumulate. or in industrial settings where chemical vapors are present. Another major concern is oxygen levels. In confined spaces, oxygen can be deficient, making it hard to breathe, or it can be enriched, which increases fire risks. This is a critical factor to consider when welding, as the process can consume oxygen and produce gases that displace the air we need to breathe. That's why pre-welding atmospheric testing is not just a precaution, it's a necessity. Before any welding starts, we need to ensure that the air is safe to breathe and that there are no explosive or toxic gases present. This is done using specialized gas detection instruments. But, testing once isn't enough. The conditions in a confined space can change rapidly, so continuous monitoring is essential. This ensures that if the atmosphere becomes hazardous during welding, we can take immediate action to protect ourselves and our colleagues. So, as we proceed with welding in confined spaces, remember that understanding and monitoring the atmosphere is key to our safety. We must always be vigilant and proactive in testing and retesting to ensure a safe working environment. As we continue our discussion on welding in confined spaces, it's crucial to focus on the safety precautions and essential equipment needed to mitigate risks. Safety in these environments is not just a practice but a requirement for preserving health and preventing accidents. First and foremost, adequate ventilation is key. In confined spaces, the lack of natural airflow can quickly lead to the buildup of harmful fumes and gases from welding. Using mechanical ventilators can help maintain a safe level of air quality, ensuring that toxic gases are expelled and fresh air is circulated. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, is another critical aspect. Welding helmets with appropriate filters protect our eyes and face from sparks and harmful radiation. Flame-resistant clothing, gloves, and eye protection shield us from burns and other injuries. Remember, the right PPE can be the difference between a safe day at work and a serious injury. Hot work permits are also essential. These permits are not just bureaucratic paperwork, they are a systematic review to ensure that all safety measures are in place before any welding begins. Furthermore, the use of gas detection instruments is vital. These devices continuously monitor the air for any hazardous gases, providing real-time alerts if the atmosphere becomes dangerous. Lastly, mechanical ventilators play a crucial role. They are not just about moving air, they are about ensuring the right balance of oxygen, and preventing the accumulation of hazardous gases. In summary, when welding in confined spaces, we must equip ourselves with the right tools and knowledge. Adequate ventilation, appropriate PPE, compliance with hot work permits, continuous gas monitoring, and the use of mechanical ventilators are all integral to our safety. Let's commit to these practices to ensure a safe and healthy working environment for everyone. As we wrap up today's Toolbox Talk, let's focus on the critical aspects of emergency procedures and training for welding in confined spaces. It's imperative that we are not only prepared to prevent accidents but also equipped to respond effectively if they occur. Firstly, having a well-defined emergency response plan is essential. This plan should be specifically designed for the unique challenges of confined spaces, including potential welding accidents. It should outline the steps to be taken in case of an emergency, the roles of each team member, and the location and use of emergency equipment. Next, we must be clear about our rescue procedures. In a confined space, standard rescue methods may not be sufficient. We need specialized equipment and trained personnel who can safely extract individuals from these spaces in case of an emergency. Training in hazard recognition is also crucial. Welders and all personnel involved in confined space operations should be able to identify potential risks, such as gas leaks, oxygen depletion, or structural instabilities. Recognizing these hazards early can prevent emergencies or mitigate their impact. Regular emergency drills and simulations are vital. These exercises help ensure that everyone knows what to do in an emergency, reducing panic and confusion. Drills should be conducted frequently to keep our skills sharp and our responses timely. Lastly, the certification and competency of our welding personnel cannot be overstressed. It's not just about having the skills to weld, it's about understanding the risks and safety procedures specific to confined spaces. Ensuring our team has the necessary training and certifications is fundamental to maintaining a safe working environment. In conclusion, our preparedness for emergencies in confined spaces, especially when welding, is as important as our daily safety practices. Let's all commit to continuous training, regular drills, and maintaining a high level of competency to ensure not just our safety but also the safety of our colleagues. Ladies and gentlemen, and fellow digital explorers, I stand before you with a humble request. Our YouTube channel is a connection of stories, ideas, and discoveries. And your subscription is the thread that weaves our community together. Each click of subscribe sparks a connection, ignites curiosity, and propels us toward a future crafted by knowledge and unity. It's more than just a channel, it's a journey we embark on together. So, I invite you join us. Subscribe us, and let's turn the pages of this digital journey side by side. Your support is the foundation of our shared adventure. Thank you.